they built magnificent cities only to abandon them, cursed by a rune to wander forever. Their legend ends at a forgotten city, and the mystery that spans parallel worlds. And it is the Rune of Change, returning in Suikoden STAR LEAP, that drives the history of the Sindar. Scattered across the world of Suikoden lies the bones of a dead civilization. They are the Sindar, and everything about them is a mystery. We have some facts, we have more legends, and between them a void that historians and adventurers throughout the Suikoden world have tried to fill for ages. The facts are these. The Sindar were master builders. Their runes are widespread, and their deadly traps remain active after centuries. Sindar runes of some description exist in the grassland, outside Muse City in the city-states of Joustin, underneath Panu Yakuta Castle in the Scarlet Moon Empire, in Kanakon, and throughout the Queendom of Felena. They left a written language decipherable to a dedicated few, found in their runes and notably on emblems of the Holy Kingdom of Harmonia. We also know of individuals uniquely drawn to these mysteries, Sindar hunters who brave the runes, and scholars who recognize the script. The ability to speak Sindarin is exceptionally rare, possessed only by a few, like Sarah, suggesting a connection deeper than mere study. This is where fact gives way to legend. The stories say a curse, the Rune of Change, forced them to wander, building and abandoning cities as they moved from north to south. The legend concludes with them finding their eternal city, after which they vanished from history. The location and nature of this city are completely unknown. The ceremonial site in the grassland was seemingly built with the intention of destroying a true rune. Which true rune that is unconfirmed, but it could quite possibly be the Rune of Change. We also know that the Sindar could seal runes, perhaps in an attempt to escape the fate that the Rune of Change enforced on them. This is the boundary of our knowledge. But what if we use the broader cosmology of the Suikoden series as a lens? We know of the infinity, the infinite expanse of parallel worlds. This is established fact. Could this concept hold the key to the legend? This next part is not stated in any ancient text. It is a theory, an attempt to connect the dots. So let's speculate. What if the Sindar's journey was a literal attempt to escape their world? The Rune of Change denied them permanence. Their advanced magic and construction might have been a colossal effort to break into the infinity. The infinity, a realm that could potentially offer the Sindar freedom from the reach of the Rune of Change. Their eternal city may not have been a place on a map, but a destination in a parallel dimension. Suppose they succeeded, but without the potential dual nature of the Rune of Change, which we will discuss later. They became trapped in this world they had found. Now, consider another fact from a different era. The Fog Ship Guide from Suikoden 4. According to the Genzo Suikoden Kiwami Encyclopedia, The fog ship guide is a magically created shroud and has no true physical form. Let not bade the entity to return to its eternal city. When it refused to do so, it was defeated by the Soul Eater, which had returned to Ted's hand. This is where an interesting, if highly theoretical, connection emerges. The similarities are provocative. A parallel world, an insubstantial form, the reference to the eternal city. Could the fog ship guide be the culmination of their people's fate? It's a fascinating idea that their legend didn't end with disappearance, but with a transformation into a being of cosmic resentment. Meanwhile, in the Queendom of Felena, many scholars posit that the first queen of Felena was in fact Sindar herself. They also argue that perhaps the Sindar are not actually extinct in this world. But what are we left with really? Some verified facts, an enduring legend, and a mystery that stretches into the Suikoden series multiverse. The rare individuals who feel a deep connection to the Sindar may be sensing the echo of this profound, unresolved story. A story of a curse that might have reached across worlds. Given all we've explored, the legend, the speculation, the cosmic implications, the very design of the Rune of Change becomes laden with potential meaning. It is a symbol that perhaps tells its own story. The Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail, is an ancient symbol of cyclicality, of a process with no beginning and no end. This perfectly encapsulates the Sindar curse, the endless cycle of build, abandon, wander and repeat. It represents a closed system, a fate with no exit, trapping its bearer in a loop of impermanence and suffering. But within this cycle of endless change, there is a stable core, the three jewels. In Buddhist symbolism, they represent a timeless refuge from suffering. If we extend our speculation in the context of the Sindar, they could symbolize the one constant goal that gave meaning to their wandering, the hope of the eternal city. A compelling interpretation is that the rune's design is a map of the Sindar's existential dilemma. The Ouroboros is the curse itself, the inescapable cycle of change that defines their existence. The three jewels at the centre are the transcendent refuge they seek from that very cycle. The rune symbolises that the path to liberation is not found by escaping the cycle, but by understanding it, by navigating its currents to reach the stable heart at its truth. Given what we know of many true runes' dual nature, such as the Rune of Beginning, the Rune of Life and Death, and the Rune of Punishment, it is possible that the Rune of Change too contains dual, contrasting attributes. Perhaps the Sindar leader who bore the rune could not undertake the burden to obtain the diametric power of the Rune of Change that would have granted the Sindar people rest, leaving the eternal city as their only option. The upcoming Suikoden STAR LEAP promises to pull the Rune of Change from the shadows of legend and place it directly into the hands of a new hero. Set in the year 453 solar calendar, on the shores of a lake east of the Scarlet Moon Empire, a great whirlpool of destiny will begin. For the first time, this rune, the very same one borne by the Sindar leader, will be central to a story. Will we learn the true nature of its curse? Will we see its power firsthand? Could this small adventure, born on a quiet lakeshore, unravel the millennia-old mystery of the Sindar's fate and their eternal city? The threads have always been there, but it is the reappearance of the Rune of Change that may draw them all together for the first time. Perhaps the whirlpool of destiny isn't just a metaphor. Perhaps it is a gateway to change, to parallel worlds, and to truths that have been lost for over 1,000 years. The journey to understand the Rune of Change is about to begin. As always, leave a like and a comment letting me know what you thought of the video, and do forgive me for not pointing out the obvious answer, which is that Konami would never wrap up a Suikoden mystery. Bye!